Hello, everyone. Oh, let me put my earphones on. Okay, y'all, I have been rushing like crazy. I am so excited to be here with you all again because we got a great show today. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, Roddric and I go back so far. It's not even, we don't even want to count the number of years, right, Roddric?
No, let's not do that. I only have like 2 hands.
Right. Exactly. So I am so excited. I'm going to give people a few moments to get on. And I am going to get into my inbox and pull up all your great information so we can get started. And I'm so excited because people have been commenting on the post about it and saying that they were talking about this same thing because the topic that we're going to talk about today is so important that we want to make sure that people understand that there's more ways to skin a cat when it comes down to careering, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me see. Let me take a look over here. Bear with me one second. So going from one thing to another is hard. So I'm rushing over here and rushing over here. That's just life. Like, oh gosh, I tell you.
I'm accustomed to it. I do work with entrepreneurs every day. So
yes, I mean, we just be all over the place. I'm like, oh, I gotta get this done. I gotta get that done. And I mean, even down to saying, okay, now I need to like comb my hair. I'm like, yeah, because I can't get on there looking like that. So I had to comb my hair. The life of an actual entrepreneur. But I am so excited to have people come on. And what I want to do before we really get started, I want to introduce, who I am. For those of you who have never seen the show before, I am Nickquolette Barrett, your hostess with the mostest, also known as the Get Hired Strategist. I come to you every week, bringing you great content to help you advance your career. One of the mottos of iRock Development Solutions, LLC, doing business as iRock Resumes, is that we help you land the job of your dreams and create a career that rocks. So it's not just about getting the job, it's about keeping the job and seeing you through to advance in the job if that's your desire. If you've never seen our work before, go out on iRockResumes.com, take a look at what we have to offer. As well as you can follow me on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is my jam. Go out on LinkedIn, read all the wonderful recommendations and reviews on our work and see how we can help you, and yes, and you with your career. So as I go over to do my quick intro, I will go ahead and get that done and then I will be right back. All right, and I am back. Our show today is about the benefits of approaching your career with the entrepreneurial mindset. And I have my special guest with me, Roddric Sims, who is an author. He's a career coach as well, and he has some awesome information. We did a practice session last week that lasted about an hour and a half. Our practice sessions are like 15 minutes to make sure everything is on par, but we ended up getting into some deep conversation about this whole thing with entrepreneurship and making it a way of life as a career, because you can think about your career as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of your business, because you all have heard me say that often. You need to treat your career as a CEO. And if you're not doing that, you're going to allow someone else to actually direct your career, but you need to direct your career and not allow someone else to do that. So we're going to have a lot of conversation about that. And as you all know, I always ask that you do is share the broadcast. So share the broadcast with your friends and your family and your followers. And if you are watching the replay, please make sure you put hashtag replay. We are broadcasting live today from LinkedIn. We're broadcasting also from Facebook and as well as YouTube. And I want to make sure that all of the folks know that we are live and on the air. So thank you so much. So before I get started, come on, Roddric, tell them who you are. Dude, come on, tell them. Let's get it.
All right. Well, Roddric Sims. That's who I am. I go by the Business Reality Coach. Now, you mentioned briefly that I am a career coach. Well, not really. I'm more of a business coach.
Business coach. I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. Business coach, not career coach. Business coach. Yes.
And so what I do is I'm a coach, consultant, and community builder for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And so throughout my had an opportunity to work for a great company for several years. And a few years ago in 2018, I was able to transition from being a full-time employee to a full-time entrepreneur. And so through that transition, I've had the ability and opportunity to actually witness it for myself, what it takes to make that transition. But also I did it I coached entrepreneurs in a corporate environment from a career standpoint of saying, hey, is entrepreneurship really the right fit for you? And then once those individuals, we decided and scrubbed them and made sure they were, then we transitioned and moved into more about, hey, let's get a business plan developed so we can get you into an entrepreneurial endeavor. And so with that background and experience, it led me to write my own book, The 4 E's of Entrepreneurship, which is more of a mindset book to help people who help them with the ideation, alignment, and launching a business. So when I had the opportunity to launch my own business, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to be a full-time entrepreneur. So I took the leap back in 2018, decided to go get an MBA specializing in entrepreneurship. So now I could go in and consult with small business owners and what I call helping them evolve their business processes and elevate their income. So that's what I do as a consultant, which also led me to have the opportunity to launch my own online academy for small business owners. And it's called SEG Small Business Academy, which I recently launched in January. So a lot more about me, but hey, those are the
Well, that is so absolutely fantastic. And I mean, just seeing your growth, and we've been tracking each other for years now, seeing the growth. And I'll never forget when I first had the ideation of launching iRock Resumes, you gave me a list of things to do. Do you know I still got that list in my Evernote? I still have that list. He said, no, you need to do X, Y, Z. And I said, oh my gosh, is it really? I got to do all of that? I thought I could just jump up and be a business.
Yeah. Well, we both were starting out back then, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sure was.
Starting out as my coaching, being a business coach and entrepreneurship coach.
Yes.
We started out at rocking resumes. And so it's great to see us progress all the way to where we are now. And so, hey, I even got my cup today. Can you see it?
Oh, let me see.
Entrepreneur, the rock star. I'm gonna bring out the entrepreneur, the rock star today for
I
iRock
need
TV.
one of those. I need one of those. See, now I'm jealous. You got to tell me where you get that cup from, because I need me one of them cups.
That's my business too. So I'll send you a link to it.
I love it. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so now the platform of our show, we gotta give a look into your career trajectory. So people can actually understand what it means. So it's almost like a job shadow. You know that term, right? Job shadowing. So it's like a virtual job shadow to figure out how they can actually make the most of their career. So before we get deeper into what you do now, let's talk a little bit about your career trajectory. What did you start off with? What are some of the tools that you learned to actually help you get to where you are today?
All right, fantastic. And so I would say I tell people all the story about my career. Went to college, and I got to a point in college where I needed to graduate and I needed a job.
Yes,
And I was like, I need a job. I need to pay some bills. I need a 9 to 5. So the only thing I really knew about when I wanted to start my career was I think I wanted to work in the finance or business. I wanted to wear, this is back in the day, right? So I'm dating myself. I wanted to wear a shirt and tie every day. Like I wanted to wear a job where I could wear a suit, shirt, and tie.
Right.
And then I wanted to work 9 to 5 during the week. I didn't want to work on the weekends. And so I was like, that's what I'm gonna shoot for. And that was my basic fundamental. So way back when I started my career, I ended up getting into the insurance industry because it fit those 3 items. And then my undergrad degree was in psychology. And so, depending on how you get into business with a psych degree, I found a way to leverage that psych degree to get into insurance by handling claims, because, handling insurance claims is really being a psychologist.
Wow.
Especially for my claims people who might be listening, or insurance people. That's what my experience. And so I was able to leverage that into career in insurance that started out handling claims, that went into handling litigation, lawsuits, that it led to me being a support supervisor, going into management, and then operating temporarily as a team manager, and then having to transition to another other part of our business, which is the agency, the sales side, where I was more of a two roles, more of a recruiter, but business coach career for the tail end of my career. So that really was part of that. Now, along my career in the insurance industry, you know, what I saw that led me to having, I guess, more success than average was really understanding, thinking with the end in mind, thinking about, okay, where do I really want, what do I need to achieve, and figuring out what those individuals ahead of me actually did. And so that led to getting all these insurance designations. Now, probably about 4 insurance designations that I got during my 20+ year career in the insurance industry. And I just kept stacking those and realizing what was important. And, you know, one was about the education. I'm a lifelong learner, so it's great for me to learn, but also the education piece was a differentiator from other people.
Yes.
And so you have to somehow differentiate yourself from other individuals, because the higher you go, but I've come to find out, your career-wise, everybody's good.
Yep.
Good at that point. So now how are you going to differentiate yourself from the other good people? And sometimes sometimes that, you know, working on special projects, I had opportunity where to do neighbor work. So we'd go out in the the neighbor works. And I had a time where I was managing 200 people to put together this project and go out to a local school and do a community build day. And so doing things like that from a leadership standpoint gave me additional opportunities, and joining organizations within the company. There were affinity groups or ERGs you work for. So joining organizations that really focused on what I wanted to do, and that was to grow my career, go into leadership, go as far as I could. And so I aligned myself with a group of individuals and organizations within that organization to allow me to do that. So which pushed me along, you know, hey, you know, if you're as they say, you know, you want to be challenged every day, and you need a group of people to challenge you to be your best. And so I found ways to challenge myself with surrounding me with groups of people. And then obviously, you know, there's always a conversation about having the right mentors.
Yes.
Early, I didn't necessarily have the right, I wouldn't say I was focused on mentors, but as my career developed, I started seeing that there were mentors all along the way for me, even though I didn't necessarily reach out for them. I found out by, I'm going to say by natural, by just the natural way I progressed in some organizations I belonged to. I just automatically had mentors along every step of the way. So that helped out a lot. So for my career, so it got to the point in my career that I got into the recruiting and coaching world, right? So, and then I realized that I was pretty good at it. And then I realized that others realized that, hey, this guy's pretty good at it. So the company invested in me to become certified, and during my certification, I realized that, hey, I'm better than good at this, you know, and I think this is something I would like to do long term. And so I mentioned before, you know, I started my side business probably 10 years before I left the organization.
I love that.
And so I was progressing. I didn't start it with the intent to leave the organization. The nice side thing to do. I enjoy doing it. It's a nice hobby. And hey, in the worst case scenario, when I do retire, I already have something that I love doing already in place. So it wasn't, I didn't start my coaching practice with the intent of actually leaving the organization, but as things transition, the organization changed, roles changed, positions changed, locations changed, it gave me another opportunity or another option to do something I really enjoy doing, which allowed me to then transition into actually from a career to more of being a more full-time entrepreneur.
And you know what, you said so many nuggets in that, because that's one of the things that I love about being in corporate America, because you have a lot of opportunities to learn. And people get to, one of the things when I get a client in and I find that they are only working, I tell them, no, you need to get involved, because they give additional experiences for you that you not only can utilize within the organization, but you also can utilize for your own benefit externally from the organization. Not with, like you said, with the intent of leaving, but about how do I get that skill set that I can speak to should I have to leave the organization and the organization I'm with now to apply to another organization. And again, differentiating yourself. Now, I want to go back to I just thought about Man to Man, because weren't you one of the founders of Man to Man?
And that's one of the organizations that I mentioned. And so a very dynamic group of men who were focused on leadership. They decided that they wanted to start. It started in Chicago.
Yep.
And how things have changed. You know, it was like the man group, and then that probably wasn't politically correct, and it's transitioned to man to man.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was 4 gentlemen, and I'll give them shouts out because, you know,
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
they're not, some of them are no longer with the organization, but they're Eric Wynn, who he was a sales leader, recently left the organization. Then there was Charles Cathy, who's a state farm agent on the south side of Chicago.
Shout out to Charles.
Yeah. And then there's John Spears, and John.
John.
Downtown Chicago as well.
Yeah.
And so that was the leadership team at that point.
Yes.
And so the whole purpose of that team was to get in position to find out how to get into leadership to expedite it. There was a time in organizations they say, hey, we can't find quality people of a certain background.
You can say it. This is a candy show. Say it. It's an ERG.
Right.
Come on with it.
Couldn't find quality Black male candidates for opportunities.
Yes.
And so we said, you know what? Hey, we'll expedite that for you. We will put a group together that has qualified Black male candidates who are openly and aggressively looking for opportunities to go up the chain, right?
Yes.
And so instead of you having to go find us, we'll find them for you and bring them together to a group. And that's how it initially started. And so the difference, I think that one of the main things that we did as well, because they're different ERGs, ours is really focused on, okay, if you join this group, there's some commitments you have to make, right? You have to commit to be involved in leadership opportunities. You're going to find them. You have to commit, and you have to commit to furthering your education. Doesn't matter what type of education you do. It could be an insurance designation. It could be an associate's. Hey, it could be an advanced degree. It could be a certification. But you have to continually focus on bettering your education and making yourself more competitive. And through that scenario, we had the ability to have a lot of high-level leadership when they came out to the field back in the day, right? They would come and seek us out to say, hey, and so we ended up having relationships that other people didn't have just because of the fact that, hey, that whole thing about it. It's a famous line in the movie, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We built man to man, and then people came, and then again, now it's expanded, you know.
Oh my gosh, it's huge now.
Across that, you know.
Yeah, Roddric, with you not being a part of the organization anymore, it is so huge right now. It has taken on a life of its own. And when I tell people, I said, I know the founding members, dating myself. I said, but they started that in Chicago. I know all of them. And I remember that, but it has taken on a life on its own. And that impact is so huge because when you just start with a seed of an idea, you never know how that would impact an organization and how you can carry that with you, because that's a story that you can continuously tell from now until that you were a founding member of that for a major, not Fortune 500, not Fortune 100, not even a Fortune 50, a Fortune 36 organization. And that's why I kind of tell people, I say, I don't work for a Fortune 500. No shade on Fortune 500s, or no shade on Fortune 100. But when I say I work in corporate America, I work for a Fortune 36 organization, billions and billions of dollars. Right. So that's a responsibility in itself. So just looking at that, say, okay, so I bring that kind of corporate experience because it's a bigger dynamic when you work for a corporation that large to a corporation that's 500, because the 500 organization is only a fraction of the organization that we work with. And so I wanted to make sure I dropped that gem in there because I know you organize that. And I love the fact that you talked about all of your trajectory, getting that additional education and the certifications that you needed in order to advance your career. So if someone was wanting to do something like that, what would be your recommendation? Because as you know, the insurance education, those courses are they are college level courses, and they are some of the hardest courses I've ever had to take. So if someone is looking at any certification, not necessarily just in the insurance, what advice would you give them to do that?
Well, number one, because there's so many different certifications that you have to, you can get the ability to get to. I always believe, so again, I'm gonna say this, and I say this a lot because me being a business coach is I believe in thinking with the end in mind. And this may be something we may talk a little bit further as we talk about. You have to actually have a plan already in place. Like, what is this going to get you closer to where you want to be, right? I will not encourage people to take classes just randomly, just to take a class.
Yes,
I am not going to encourage that. I'm not.
Yes.
But what I will do is I would prefer you to take something that you're actually interested in and you feel will benefit you.
Yeah.
And necessarily waste your time on something that's not. Now, Every time, every decision you make, even in your career and in your education, it is a business decision.
Right.
And because this decision there's going to be some trade-offs, right? You're going to trade time or money to get this certification or this education. So when you're doing that, what is going to be that return on investment? What is your ROI? And I apologize, you hear me speaking business talk. So
yes,
what is your ROI on you getting education? Is it really going to benefit you, and how much will it benefit you? So you have the decision as a consumer of this designation, of this education, is it going to get me closer to what I want to be, or is it am I doing this for the benefit of just myself because I'm a self-learner? Educated decision at the same point. Now, if you're focused on your education, then you need to take the classes for your career, you need to take the classes that are going to put you in a position to further your career.
Right.
And if you're like, hey, well, I'm not really sure if I want to do this, then that's okay. Just can do something.
Yes.
What you mentioned is that the hardest thing that I've saw from people that to get into that mindset of being a learner, once you take off for so long, it's hard to get back in the routine.
Yeah.
So just continue to learn will benefit, even if it's something small. You figure out what you really want to do, will be easy transition versus saying, I haven't studied anything in 10 years, and now I study for CPCU or CLU. Like, oh my gosh, I can't do this because you haven't studied in 10 plus years. And so now it's such a hard hurdle to overcome. So I'm a big believer, especially in your career, being a continual learner within your career. And even another side note to that is, even with the pace of change now in careers, back when we started, Nikki, stuff did not change for like 10 years. You can do something. It's the same for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Now, processes change like within 3 years. You were doing something 3 years ago.
Yesterday. It's happening so fast now. Roddric, it changes daily almost now.
Tell people, and I do some side career coaching sometimes at a local, as an alum, my local university. And one of the things that even when I was coaching people and evaluating is that the biggest thing is learning agility. That's the newest talent to have. If any talent you have or any talent that you want to focus on, I would say that's probably, as you move forward in your career, learning agility is probably going to be at the topmost from a competency standpoint. The job you're doing now will be different in 3 years. And in order for you to keep job and stay competitive, you're going to have to be able to learn to do something different.
Right. Hey there, Miss Tina. That's my sister-in-law there, y'all. Hey, Miss Tina. And my niece, he turned 21 on yesterday. Whoop, whoop. So I just want to say hello to her. Thank you so much for joining us. And here's my cuz. He said phenomenal advice. And Orlando, he's a career coach as well. And we met. It's a long story how we met, but I got to have you back on, Orlando. He just said phenomenal advice. And that's good because this is a good segue so we can get into what we started talking about the other day. So I wanted to give that framework about careering and all that kind of stuff. But you have a different take on that. And it's in alignment with what I talk about, but I'm just going to open up the floodgates and let you go for it. Let's start talking about what we talked about before.
Okay. Well, this conversation is focused on approaching a career with an entrepreneurial mindset. So let me set the stage for that and clarify a few things. Right? So there's different ways. So you'll hear about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship. So clarification. Entrepreneurship is really operating like an entrepreneur within your current job. So it's really focused on innovation, doing things differently, using your resources in a creative way to make things better for your organization. So that's entrepreneurship, right? Then there is what I call career to entrepreneurship is what I did. I worked a full-time career. Like, you know what? I want to transition to being an entrepreneur. And so that's what I do now. So I have a lot of clients in my coaching community who are in that process. They work a full-time job, but they have a 5 to 9. They're working a little bit in order to make sure that, they can transition to a job. So that's benefiting them in another role. So they're really focusing on transition to being a full-time entrepreneur. Right. So the third that we want to focus on, we're going to talk about today for clarification, is that mindset of operating with an entrepreneurial mindset within your career. And so that's a little bit different. So it's like approaching your career as entrepreneurs think. And so fundamentally, to make it easy to see the way direction I'm going is, so if you have any person that starts a business, the fundamental thing, we're going to say, hey, we need a business plan or a business summary. You have to have a business plan. Yes. So I encourage people in their careers, you should have a career plan.
Yep.
why don't you have a career plan? Because
Exactly.
and if you don't have a career plan, you're chasing or going into the same scenario that a lot of entrepreneurs end up. And I say this, right? And I don't know about, I will say this about careers. I don't know the data on this, but I know the data for the entrepreneurship. So 80% of businesses that fail never have a business plan. Because you can start a business without a business plan and do it all the time. So, because, they didn't plan properly. So I'm curious to see, and I'm very confident in saying this, is that I'm very sure that the majority of people end up in careers they never would have ended up in because they never had a plan. They just slow, and they just ended up somewhere because somebody told them to do this, and never because they might have been
spot on. You're spot on. Yes.
So if you don't have a career plan, and that's what being an entrepreneur, you have to have a business plan. So I would encourage people, you have a career, right? You need to have a career plan, and some of those components, and we can always go back and get more in detail with it. For instance, like, if you have a business plan, then you need to have a mission and vision. So what's the vision for your career? If you don't understand what the vision of your career is, what are you trying to achieve? What do you want to do? What's going on, right?
Right.
The other one would be 3-year goals. What's your 3-year goals for your career? Where are you trying to be in 3 years? Because if you don't, if you don't plan it, somebody else will plan it for you. Right?
That's what I say, Roddric. That's exactly what I say. Yes.
You'll look up in 3 years and you'll say, believe me.
Yeah.
I was in corporate America 20 plus years. 3 years flies by, and you look like, wait, I've been doing this job for 3 years.
Hello? What anniversary is this? What?
I just started. Nah, dude, no, you didn't.
No, that's a 20.
Exactly. So, need to have, goals in place, just like in a business plan, you have to have goals. The other thing is I talk to entrepreneurs about, like, hey, who is your customer? Who are you really focused on providing business to? So who's your customer in your current role? If you don't know it, your customer, I tell people your customers are your boss and your coworkers. Because
that's right.
When they want to get an evaluation on how well you're doing for that next opportunity, who are they going to talk to? Your customers.
Exactly.
So understand who your customers are. So identify your customers are. And then last but not least, some other ones, but this is a big one, it's the financials, right?
Yes.
What are you making in this opportunity, right? Investing. Are you, obviously I'm always going to tell people, even in the business, you have to continually reinvest in your business. So in the business, it may be marketing, it might be, a bigger, and it may be hiring new people, but you need to be investing in yourself and your career. So that's like, what am I going to invest in myself? Am I going back to get a degree? Am I going to get certifications? Am I online classes that's free? What am I doing to invest in myself? So better situation or a better candidate or more competitive, 3 years from now. This is the financials. Really, at the end of the day, can I make money doing what I'm trying to do? Because you can start a business and not make money. People with entrepreneurial, you can start a business and not make money.
That's true.
And you can have a career, but you don't make no money.
That's true. Yep, that's very true.
So you have to understand the bottom line of all this effort and energy that I'm putting in. How much is it going to equate to financially? Because if I put that same amount of effort and energy into another career, would I make more money? And potentially you might. So, but you have to understand the financials of your career before you can make those decisions.
And you know what? That is so powerful, because you know what, Roddric, when I think about when people ask me, how do I get the highest rating in the job? So it's not just about doing extracurriculars and all that kind of stuff. It's actually doing the job itself. That's it must be number one. So then having a strategy. When I talk to clients, I always talk about, I'm a career development strategist, because it's about developing your career. I don't just, yes, the name of the business is I Rock Resumes. Yes, and I love writing resumes. But it's about truly thinking about your career as a business. How do you market yourself? What do you really want? Is that the job that you really want? What are the financials, and talking about salary negotiation? So all of those things that you put in place from an actual entrepreneur definitely needs to be transferred over to an actual career person, so they can see themselves as that a business entity, right? The entrepreneur. So having that alignment with them, the way that you're talking to your clients, I'm hoping that people are hearing this when we're talking about this, is how they need to do that for themselves as well. So if, based on, looking at that, now you told them the 3 things to look for. Now, how would they be able to implement something like that? They like, okay, yeah, great. That's great advice. So what? So how am I supposed to do something like that? What are some of the things that they really need to dig deep and try to figure out?
Well, I mean, with the basis of creating your own career plan, it's pretty simple. Long story short, figure out what get a business plan, copy it, start doing it, right? Because at the end of the day, about goals, you're a coach, I'm a coach. They're not legitimate unless you write them down.
Right.
Fundamental, right? So you got you got to write all this stuff down. You got to do the plan. You got to do the work to see where you're going. You got to put the plan together. But to go along with those things, there's a few different things, right, that goes along with this. And so as you're doing that work of doing your career plan, let's talk about the other parts of being this individual. So one, I would say, as you do that business plan, a few things. You got to be realistic, right? And you got to be resilient, because what happens is when you have a plan as a business owner, your stuff don't always go to plan. Plans get changed all the time. No
life happens too, right?
Exactly. You have to go back and adjust the plans. I tell people, you do a plan to if things are perfect, and if things, nothing happens. But again, I go by the Business Reality Coach. So I'm a realist. Like nothing's gonna happen.
You tell like a DIS.
Your business plan is gonna change. So your career plan is going to change. So once you have that plan, you have to be resilient and understand that, hey, I'm going to have to do some I might have to adapt a little bit to make sure that I understand, how this thing is really working. So you got to be comfortable. You got to be adaptable, flexible, all those competencies you hear all the time. It's just like an entrepreneur has to be. You have to be comfortable there. The other part is, I talked about the customer, right? So here's the thing, right? You have to be open to your customer feedback. So if I have customers coming in, I have to say, hey, how did you enjoy the experience? What did I do? How did you like it? Did people service you? Did you like the quality of my service? You have to ask. And then you get a true understanding of it. So when you're working for your customer, which is your boss or your coworkers, you need to be confident, comfortable, willing to get the feedback from them to help you be better and make yourself more competitive. So this is something that, you have to be, going to be proactive in getting that feedback from your customers to see if you are competent, on pace, delivering what you need to deliver to get you ready in your career for that next step. So are you getting the feedback necessary to position you to be as competitive as possible for those future roles? So that's part of that piece. And then investing in yourself, like I mentioned before, you have to invest in, as a business owner, you have to continually invest in your business for it to grow. You as in your career, you have to continually to invest in it. And so, you have to do some research, right, and understand what's going on in your industry. So one, you have to be from understanding your career, and the financials is both. It's like you have to understand what's going on in your career. Are you reading what's happening in your industry? Are you keeping up to current events? Current events. Do you know that, hey, in this certain industry, another company started this, and it sounds like it's going to be the new wave. So if you can become an expert on that before it gets to your company, guess who becomes the expert? The expert.
I love it. Yes.
So you got to be aware of the demographics of what's going on around you. As you start looking this through. So you're investing in yourself. So you're investing in your education, right? So you can invest in your education through paying for it or being a continual learner, talking to other people, things of that nature. So I'm a big believer in that continual learning and education. So figure out what's going on, but also educate yourself on, hey, what people are making in your industry. It's all out there now. This is the age of Google and technology and information.
There's no excuse, right?
There's no excuse, right? There's none. You can probably find out what your next door neighbor is making these days.
You're so right.
The way technology is.
Just tell me what your role is. Oh, I know what your range is.
Right. Exactly. So you should not be naive to that.
Yeah.
And so you need to have to do the due diligence and do the research to figure out what that is. And then once you know, now you can say, hey, well, you know what? I'm making about what I should be making. Or you can be like, man, I'm not making what I need to be making. I need to make some moves. Or you could be like, man, I'm making a lot more than what most people have been doing. I need to maybe do a better job of what I'm doing here and get it a little bit more because I'm winning already. I need to stay winning. So,
Exactly.
but the
Yep.
only way you figure that out is by educating yourself, which is investing in yourself to see what's going on in your surroundings. So those are some of the things I would say as far as how you get there in your career and figuring those out, from a broad perspective. As a coach, and everything really has to be broken down specifically for the individual. We have to tailor it for our
Yeah, very tailored. Yep.
but at the broad perspective, I think those are three fundamental things that anybody can do, right? So I'm providing things, not just what, if you're a special case. No, this stuff is fundamental to anybody's career.
Right.
Have a plan, understand who your customers are, invest in yourself, in your education, know what's going on surrounding you, understand your role, figure out what's going on in your industry so you can, be on the forefront of change. So you can either be it or you can be a knowledge expert about it.
Yeah. I love that. And even going back to the investing in yourself, because you have people out there that are scared to what they consider spend money. Because I've gotten the feedback sometimes, oh, you're so expensive. And then I had a conversation recently with a friend and said, of course, friends, they're different. So oh, you're so expensive. I said, well, remember that job that you were talking about applying for, that you said you were just going to research and do it alone and do it on your own? Well, I had somebody who was one level lower that actually made the investment and they got the job. They not only got from an analyst role, they got promoted to this terminology, the MG4 role.
Right. I remember those.
So so they went 2 levels above. Not only did they get the 10% increase in their salary, but because they didn't make the bare minimum of what a section manager level or a MG4 level makes, they actually had to get bumped up again financially. So that's about a 15% increase from that one investment. So I said, so you just think about, how much State Farm people make. So you just look at those dollars alone. Now, was that an investment? Then the person, oh my gosh, yeah, you know what? There's some other positions. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and have to bite the bullet. Yeah, because it's about you're worth it. And that's what I try to tell people. You are worth this in one-time investment, because you got to look at how it's going to yield you those results year in and year in, because that salary is just not a one-time salary. That salary is for every year, right? And whatever else comes along with that. So that's what people have to do. So please, audience, listen to us. Don't be afraid to make that step and invest in yourself, especially when you have those who are able to get results for you. And that's it. And if there's any business owners that are out there, I need you also. Hi, Auntie. Mom, sorry, I got it. Hi, Auntie. Got to give you kisses. And so I want you all to make sure that if you're a business owner out there, I want you to make sure that you connect with Roddric, because he can take you through all of that. Having the corporate experience, again, for a Fortune 36 organization, and also having the actual hands-on experience of coaching people in the business realm for over 10 years in corporate, and now continuing on in his own business. He's a walking book wealth of knowledge. And I need you all to understand that, to connect with him, because he can actually help you get to where you need to be and tell you the TR truth, because it is very, like you said, very tailored to the individual. You have generalities we can talk all day long about, but what about your situation? What about your career? What about your business? What about the money you want to make? So if I'm thinking about that, trying to make sure that they get in contact with you, what are some last nuggets that you want to drop to them so they can make that connection with you to get, because you have a group too, right?
Yeah, I do. So thanks for bringing that up, right?
Yes.
I have an entrepreneurial mindset group. And so this group is really for people who just have a mindset and want to talk to other entrepreneurs. So it's individuals who are thinking about starting a business, who are started a business, who have a side business. And it's a Facebook group. It's called the Ready, Set, Launch Mindset Group. So
I love it.
actually open that up. So you can find it. You just search it, Ready, Set, Launch Mindset Group. Hit the join button, and then hey, he sends you a note, and just say, hey, I saw you on iRock TV, and I wanted to join your group just so I can be around other people with entrepreneurial mindsets. So that's great. You see my website there that you've shown. Sims Coaching Group. That's the overall view of what we do. My group. My focus here is really about business owners, entrepreneurship. We're building relationships, like with obviously iRock.
Yes.
Solutions to provide career services and leadership development in those type of scenarios. But I focus specifically on small business, entrepreneurship as an entrepreneurship coach, small business consultant. So I do that in regards to that. And so you can always find more information about our group at www.simscoachinggroup.com. So love you to stop by, check it out, and click the button. And so for today as well, I am going to be pushing out. I recently launched an ebook, called Evolve and Elevate, which you'll see, I think, right here. Was it right there?
Yeah, oh, yeah, I see it. It's on. That's on the other side. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, right there.
There we go.
Yeah, right there.
Yes, awesome.
And so it's an ebook, and so, but this is at my, at my website. If you go to www.sims coaching group, it'll take you to it'll be a link to our small business academy that I have. You can click on that and you can download the book, or you can go directly to my personal website, which is www.roddric, RODDRIC, WSIMS, WSIMS.com. You can click on there, and I've been in a position where I've been able to give out about 50 of my ebooks complimentary to individuals. And this book really focuses on how to help small business owners who are established evolve their business processes and elevate their income and revenue. 8 simple strategies that I use in my coaching, in my consulting practice, to be able to help entrepreneurs basically make more money, right? And that's at the end of the day, business owners who are established and are doing well, they want to make more money or have more time, and that's a different conversation. I can help with that as well. And so that's what I currently have going on. So we'd love you to stop by. Again, you have the entrepreneurial mindset, just want to be around a group of entrepreneurs. Visit me on Facebook at Ready, Set, Launch Mindset Group. Or if you want to, have a conversation with a business coach about taking your business to the next level, then visit me at www.simscoachinggroup and or visit www.roddricwsims and get your free complimentary ebook, Evolve and Elevate.
Awesome. Now, if I was to ask you, what did not ask you that you wanted to make sure you leave before we end the broadcast?
Oh, wow. I would say this, we talk about careers and making it personal, right? I was blessed to end up in my path finding me as a business coach, right? The job that I'm doing now was not even at State Farm when we started, right? It evolved over time. So I was preparing myself for a position that wasn't even around when I started. So understand that you might be preparing yourself in your career for opportunities that aren't even around yet. Is that you need to continue to prepare and develop transferable skills, because you never know what roles, what organizations, and what positions, or even what industries are going to be around 5 years.
That's right. And we see that. Yep.
And so the one thing I think I did right, I could have never said, hey, I'm going to be a business coach. When I first started my career in the insurance. Never could have said that, right? But what I did know was that there's something coming, and I got to get prepared now. So every year I was looking at ways to position myself to do that. So I couldn't have planned where I am now because it wasn't even viable or possible, right? But what I can tell you, if I didn't do all the work, all the preparation, all the opportunities, all the education in the past, I wouldn't be here without doing that.
And that is so powerful, because continuous evolving, because if we think about, a whole lot of jobs have been developed just because of the pandemic. So you don't even know what you have developed over time just to be able to fill those opportunities and becoming a subject matter expert in things that you never thought that you would be. Because even just when I think about people becoming subject matter experts in Zoom, because teachers had to all of a sudden learn how to do Zoom, businesses were built just on teaching that. So those are some of the things that people need to be cognizant of. So if I was to ask you to finish this sentence for me, my boy, my homeboy from way back, Roddric, I rock because what?
I rock because I get the opportunity to work with aspiring entrepreneurs every day. I help them identify and define their future success. And then I get to work with small business owners to evolve their businesses and elevate their companies so they can support themselves, their families, and their communities. That's why I rock.
I I love it. I love it. I love it. Roddric, I am so elated to have you with me. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And I want to keep some of your good stuff because I want people to know, first of all, make sure that if you're on YouTube, especially to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications when we go live again, and subscribe and make sure that you get all, let me see, I have a thing. Oh, let me see. Say, I'm in HR, but I'm trying to pivot into business. Yes. Let me put his stuff back up here. Okay, Stacy, this is what I want you to do. Let me go back and put up Roddric's stuff, okay? So please make sure you go check Roddric out. He not only has the Facebook group that I really encourage you to be a part of, he also, we talk about your academy a little bit too, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. So
okay.
So I have the academy for the academy. Actually, it's to make it. I created this academy to be able to allow people to learn at their own pace about being a better business owner. And so it's self-directed learning where you can, if you can't afford to have an MBA come out and do your consulting and train you to, I have it packaged where you actually can teach yourself.
I love this. Yes, so it makes it affordable.
Yes, I would do that I would come in and do for you, right? Because you're paying for my time and my expertise. It's been packaged online where you can do it on demand. And so that's something that's a whole different call, right? And a different meeting or conversation. But I'm really excited about my academy because now I can help entrepreneurs anywhere in the world on their own pace at a price point where I'll be able to allow them to learn more about it. And so if she's looking for that information, she can go to that specific website would be www.roddricwsims.com. And then there's a link that clicks on it. It'll say e-learning platform. Click on that and it'll take you to my Small Business Academy.
Yeah, so Stacy, go to his Facebook group too, because that's where you're going to have that conversation with also budding entrepreneurs. So that'll be another way. And I'm sure he's going to be talking about that academy in there as well. So those are some steps that you can begin to take as soon as we're done with this broadcast to get you started on that path. And anybody out there, when you're thinking about this, because this whole pandemic is forcing us to think differently about how we career, which is, again, I always tell people entrepreneurship is a career. It is a career. So there's a way that you can take your skill set and actually do that. So I'm glad for that question. If there's any other question before I let Roger go, please let me know. So I want to make sure that you all are doing that. And I want you all to make sure that you're connecting with us as well. Roddric is on LinkedIn. So Roddric, Roddric, Sims, go out there and connect with him on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well, because I always tell you all, LinkedIn is my jam. And I also want you all to make sure that you get on my email list. If you haven't gotten on my email list, there is a, let me see. I don't see it on here, but my email list, if you can go to irockresumes.com and download the free ebook, Dispelling the One-Page Resume Myth, you'll get access to information. I'm starting for the first time today. I'm launching the Break Room. And the Break Room is a private community on Facebook where we're taking some deeper conversations to another level. So it's not about 3 tips of resume writing. It's not about 3 tips to get your LinkedIn rocked out. Go YouTube. I've done over 100+ videos. Go there to get that information. These are for the majority of the people in my group are management level and above. And we're having detailed conversations about challenges that we have in corporate America, the challenging boss, challenging processes. What do we do? So we're collaborating, we're networking, we're going to be doing all of that. So it launches today, but it's only a private community. You have to be on my email list to get a part of it, or a client or former client to be privy to that, because I'm keeping the group relatively private and exclusive because of the conversations and the trust we're going to have with one another in this group. So whatever happens in the group stays in the group. So it's not open to just anyone. So if you're interested in leveling up your career and being around some powerful people, and it was so funny, Roger, I only wanted 10 people in the group. I said, that's all I need is just 10 people who are really interested in going to the next level. I have 23 and I think it's growing. So I'm really excited about that. So 23 people said that's a small group, but it's an intentional, exclusive group, right? Look, I'm so glad, because it's not about the numbers. It's about the quality and the people who are really intently on learning that. So we are doing our launch at 6 o'clock on today. You still have time to get a part of that group if you sign up, and my assistant Ian. He'll take care of you to make sure that you get into the group so you can be a part of the kickoff for that group. And we're going to have weekly conversations. And then I'm planning on the whole marketing and branding of the office, right? It's called the break room because we have conversations in the break room, right? And then we're going to have water cooler chats. So we have water cooler chats, just like a real office. So we're going to have some of those powerful things. And if you want to become a subscriber, a member at the premium level, you can become a part of that as well, where I'm going to have Roddric come back in and do a master class. And that's just 3 coffees. You know, I have the Buy Me a Coffee at iRock for iRock TV. I have the same thing with buymeacoffee.com for the break room. But again, that's only for those members. And if you want to be a part of the higher level echelon, you'll get your own coffee mug and you'll have privy to be able to get more detailed, deeper training from mastermind people just like Roddric in the group, taking you even to another level. And that's only 3 coffees, $15 a month, just to be a recurring subscription to be a part of that even higher level. But the original group is free to anyone who's on my list and also who are part of my client database. You have access to that. If you want to take it another level, you can. And we'll be talking about all of that. And I'm going to see a lot of great things happen beyond that as well. Okay, so thanks. I have an HR business and creating a content. Oh, yay. Thank you, Stacy. So she said she's going to definitely check you out. Okay, good. Because with that HR girl, there's some things you can do with that, Stacy. But I really want to make sure that you all connect with us and we can take you to another level. Roddric, I know him personally. He is awesome at what he does. And I want you all to make sure that you can get his book as well, because it will really give you a mindset on what you need to do. So I want to thank you all. Thank you, Roger. You know, I got to give you a virtual hug.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. And I'm so excited to, you know, have you a part of this show. And I consider you a part of the iRock family as well. I thank you so much for always encouraging even me to continue on doing what I'm doing, because you give me that shot in the arm every once in a while, and I'm taking every shot. So you know what I'm talking about.
Hey, I like to see people's business grow. That's why I do this.
That's right.
I get enjoyment out of other people's success.
Yes, and I love you for that, man. You're like a brother to me, and I'm just so excited. So thank you all so much for watching another episode of iRock.tv. This, again, is a new series that I started in January. You can catch all the other episodes out on my YouTube channel. You just put my long name in there, Nickquolette Barrett, the Get Higher Strategist. I am the only Nickquolette there, so you can find me and then subscribe and hit that button to get reminders on that. And with that, we will say goodbye to everyone. Say bye. Thank y'all so much for being with me. And I am going to do my outro, and I will see y'all next time. All right. Let me go down here. All right.